A NASCAR Cup Series car pulled onto the Iowa Speedway asphalt this weekend carrying something bigger than sponsorship money. No flashy gimmick, no corporate stunt. Ross Chastain put his own family story on the hood of his number E Mono. One Chevrolet, and if you know anything about where he comes from, this wasn't just paint. This was personal. Here's what went down. On August 9th, Trackhouse Racing rolled out Ross Chastain's Camaro ZL1, wrapped in a limited edition Busch white for the farmer's design. The wrap ties directly into Busch Light Support for Farm Rescue, a nonprofit that steps in when farm families hit crisis moments. Think medical emergencies, natural disasters, anything that can wipe out a harvest and a livelihood overnight. Chastain, nicknamed the Watermelon Man for his post-win fruit-smashing celebration, finished the race 7th, and country star Dierks Bentley closed out the day with a live set as part of Busch Light's summer music series. Simple on the surface, loaded underneath. To understand why this paint scheme hits different, you have to understand Chastain's roots. This is a driver whose father built a career as a multi-generation watermelon farmer out of Florida. His younger brother is still out there in the fields of western Indiana, hauling fruit for the family business. Chastain has talked openly about how his team ships watermelons out of Kentucky, Delaware, Maryland, and North Carolina practically year-round. So when Trackhouse sat down years ago to figure out what direction to take the #1 car's branding, the origin story wasn't some marketing focus group. According to Chastain, his father was asked flat out what he wanted on the car, and the answer was blunt: beer and tractors. That's it. That's the pitch that built a partnership. And it matters right now because NASCAR has been leaning harder into regional identity. Tracks, fan bases, and drivers connecting to the communities hosting them. Iowa Speedway sits in the middle of corn country, and Busch Light didn't just show up to sell beer. They showed up in a state where agriculture is the backbone of the local economy during peak growing season in front of fans who, by Chastain's own account, drove in straight from the field. Now, let's break down why this is smarter than it looks on paper. Most driver brand partnerships in NASCAR are transactional. Logo goes on the car, check gets cashed, nobody thinks twice about it. What Chastain and Busch White are doing here is different. They're building a narrative thread that's followed him through fishing-themed raps, country music tie-ins, and now agriculture. Each one rooted in something authentic to who he actually is off the track. From a strategic standpoint, that's a smart long game. In an era where fans are increasingly skeptical of manufactured sponsorships, authenticity is currency. Chastain isn't just wearing a logo, he's the actual demographic Busch Light is targeting. That's a level of brand alignment most athletes in any sport can't fake. There's also a business layer worth pointing out. Busch Light says its farm rescue partnership has generated more than $1.5 million and helped over 1,300 farm families. That's not just goodwill. That's a measurable return that gives this campaign staying power beyond a single race weekend. The risk, it's subtle, but it's there. Lean too far into a niche identity and you can box a driver into a lane that limits broader crossover appeal. Chastain's entire brand is built on being the farm kid who made it to the Cup Series. That's compelling, but it's also specific. The question going forward is whether Trackhouse can keep expanding that story without diluting it. So, is this smart or risky? Right now, smart wins. Because unlike most manufactured storylines in motorsports, this one didn't need to be invented. It already existed. Chastain and his team just had the sense to put it on display. Reaction on the ground in Iowa tells the story better than any press release could. Fans who showed up mid-harvest, corn season in full swing, weren't just there for the race. Multiple attendees reportedly told Chastain directly how much the tribute meant to them. A small but telling sign that this rap resonated beyond typical NASCAR merchandise hype. Expect the broader fan response to split into two lanes. Die-hard NASCAR fans and agriculture communities will see this as one of the more genuine sponsorship moments of the season. A driver actually representing his people instead of just cashing a check. Skeptics, meanwhile, might roll their eyes at another beer brand tie-in dressed up as a heartfelt tribute. That contrast, sincerity versus cynicism, is exactly the kind of tension that gets a story trending in motorsports media circles this week. Let's look ahead 2 paths from here. Best case, this farming tribute becomes a recurring theme for Chastain's car during harvest season races, turning into an annual moment fans circle on the calendar, similar to how other drivers have built signature paint schemes tied to causes. Farm Rescue's fundraising numbers climb. Chastain's brand as Motorsports' most authentic ambassador for rural America solidifies, and Trackhouse leans further into storytelling-driven sponsorships as a competitive advantage in the sponsor market. Worst case, the novelty wears thin. If Busch Light and Trackhouse don't evolve the concept, it risks becoming just another rotating paint scheme and a long list of one-off promotional wraps, remembered for a weekend, forgotten by the next race. Worse, if performance struggles start piling up, storylines like this can get buried under bigger headlines about Chastain's on-track results instead of his off-track identity. Which way this goes depends on whether Trackhouse treats this as a moment or a movement. So, here's the real question. In a sport built on speed, horsepower, and million-dollar sponsorships, does a story like this actually move the needle for fans, or is authenticity in NASCAR sponsorship becoming the new competitive edge teams can't afford to ignore? Drop your take in the comments. Are you here for the racing, the storylines, or both? And if breakdowns like this are your speed, you know what to do. Subscribe to Sportswire USA, because we're not done digging into what's really driving the sport this season.